swear Halloween Ends is the worst movie to ever exist. It is the worst movie in the entire franchise. Do you understand? What the fuck?
I watched Halloween Ends last night and decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do a spoiler-free review, or at least try and make it as spoiler-free as I can. So let's get right into it. Now, first off, I want to say that I personally do not think that this is even in talks to be the worst Halloween film. And I've seen a lot on, of course, Twitter and other places. People are talking a ton of shit about this, and some of the points I can definitely agree with. I'm not going to say that they're completely wrong in hating this movie, because there is a lot that Blumhouse they took a big risk with, and I will admit I don't think it necessarily paid off in the end. A lot of missed opportunities, things that I did see that I'm like, oh, that's so cool, like maybe we can focus on that, and they didn't, or they didn't do it necessarily the way that I think a lot of Halloween fans would have wanted something to be carried out. And I would say that really it is, like they said in the marketing, it is definitely going to be very divisive amongst a lot of fans, because there's a lot of things in this that, even though like I said, I enjoyed this movie, there were some things that I genuinely did not like and really wish were never even a part of the film, because they kind of took me out of it. Now, something I will say, and probably a reason I like this film, is I can appreciate that they tried something new. And a lot of people don't like that, don't like change, and I'll say that's fine. It's, it's understandable. I am just one of those people that I feel like it's okay to change things up every now and then, and they definitely changed it up in Ends. However, like I mentioned earlier, they take a lot of risk, take a lot of big swings, that they fall on their face on a lot of them. And I think that's really unfortunate, because there are some cool things in this movie that I think they could have explored to a better extent than what they did in the final product. The story they choose to focus on in this movie, if you think you're going into Halloween Ends for a full-on Laurie versus Michael showdown movie, I'm going to go ahead and tell you now that is not the case. I'm not going to give any crazy plot details and anything, because I said this is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. But I will say the character of Corey Cunningham that we've been told about before, the main focus of the movie is going to be on him. So going into it, just be prepared for that. Speaking on the whole Corey story real quick, I will say I think if this story that they added with him in Ends, if they would have had it in something like 2018 or even Kills, I think maybe it would have been received a little better, because when you add a whole new character like that and put so much focus on them as your last movie, I think that doesn't sit well with fans. And it's definitely a gripe and complaint that I can agree with. I can understand something like that for sure. And I'll even say, if this idea, this story, was in another movie all on its own, if it wasn't even a Halloween movie, it would have worked a lot better. I will say that. Touching on a few other things, I will say I think the acting in Halloween Ends, in my opinion, is better, excuse me, than what we had in 2018 and Kills, especially Kills. Because the problem with 2018 and Kills, to me, even though I do enjoy those movies quite a bit, the dialogue at times can be very cringy. They say things that during a normal conversation a person wouldn't say. And here in Ends, I will say that Laurie especially is seems the most human-like, so to speak, the most well-rounded, like a real human being in Ends compared to 2018 or Kills. And I will also praise this movie for the cinematography. I think the cinematography in Halloween Ends is beautiful. There are so many great shots that just capture the essence of the holiday and just the fall setting. I think it's perfect. I think it's the best shot film out of the Blumhouse trilogy so far. Now, moving on to the negatives, and one of the biggest negatives for me, as well as a lot of people, even the other people that I've seen that enjoy this movie, I think can agree that the Corey story is interesting. It can be interesting. Just the issue is it's in the last movie of this trilogy. And like I've said before, I don't think that should have been a thing. I think you should have focused on Laurie and Michael. And even the Corey thing could have still been in this movie. Just it should not have been the main focus, if that makes sense. Because you're closing out the saga between Michael and Laurie. And so you want to focus on them. And I've heard people say, oh, well, then you're just basically remaking Halloween 2018. And in a way, yes, maybe that's the case. But I enjoyed the Corey storyline for the most part. There were things I liked, things I didn't like. And that is definitely one of my complaints is if it were in another movie, I fully believe that it would have been received a bit better. Just the fact that they decided to focus on that so much and that be the main focus of their last movie, Blumhouse's last Halloween movie, that I think that's what mainly the big issue with that is. My biggest complaint with this film that I do find pretty unforgivable, and me as someone who has loved the Halloween franchise for so long, and Michael Myers is my favorite slasher. I love these characters. Michael Myers is done so damn dirty in this movie. And, excuse me, I've seen people say, well, he's old. He took a beating, a pretty bad beating at the end of Kills. That he got up from and slashed the shit out of everybody. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's like, I get it. Michael Myers is old. He's kind of, I don't even want to say frail, because like he got his ass kicked at the end of Kills, but he came back from that. And just to see him get treated like a punk and just get tossed around, and just to see him the way he is in this movie, I find it very disrespectful to the character. Because in a way, I would say just as much as Laurie Strode, if not more, Michael Myers is kind of the face of the Halloween franchise. So to see him done the way he's done in this film, I just think is unforgivable. And when I think about it even more, it just makes me angrier. And I think like, Blumhouse, what the fuck were you doing? So I think I'm going to leave it there. I will say, if you are a Halloween fan, definitely go check this out just to see how it ends. Just to kind of get your fix for the year with the Halloween franchise. I say go into it with an open mind. Keep in mind that, honestly, what they are showing you in the trailers and TV spots is not really what you're going to get for the most part when you walk into the theaters and see the full movie. But that's going to be all for me, you guys. Like I said, check the movie out for yourself. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you enjoyed this review and maybe want to see more things like this, or even a spoiler review, leave a like, comment what you want to see, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.